Marriage is Hard is a 4-day reading plan that examines common marital issues. For each of the days of the reading plan, it begins with the words, "Marriage is hard," and then provides a reason, such as we're prideful or we're selfish. It then presents a devotional of about 250 words that also contains a scripture verse. I was rather impressed by the fact that the devotionals did have a positive impact on me. They did cause me to want to consider whether or not I was being selfish, whether or not I was not being appreciative of the differences between my wife and I, and so on. Even though this is the case, I still have a couple of problems with the reading plan. For example, as you look on the third day, it has a paragraph which reads as follows. Just as Felix and Oscar argued and battled all the time in The Odd Couple, husbands and wives are vulnerable to Satan's plotting to drive the tip of a crowbar into their differences and use them as a fulcrum to pry them apart. God made us different not to drive each other crazy, but to enrich our lives and give us a bigger and wider and more interesting perspective on life. We have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. Now, I don't have a problem with the fact that it speaks of different gifts and a grace that is given to each of us. That is not a problem, but the thing I have an issue with is the fact that the reading plan does not let you know that they're only quoting half of Romans chapter 12, verse 6. If you look at the entirety of that particular verse, you learn that one thing it's referring to is the miraculous spiritual gifts, specifically the gift of prophecy. Now, having assorted gifts according to the grace that was given to us, if prophecy, then prophesy according to the analogy of the faith. I understand that the verses that follow in Romans chapter 12 do speak of other things that are not necessarily miraculous gifts, but I was still disappointed to see that half of the verse from Romans chapter 12, verse 6 was cut off in this reading plan. The other small thing that I had a problem with was that if you go to the fourth day of the reading plan, you've completed the first three and you're on the fourth day. After you get done with the fourth day, it just ends. There's no appropriate closure for the reading plan, so I was a bit disappointed in that. Even though this is the case for these two things I didn't exactly like from it, I found that this plan would probably be beneficial to husbands and wives that may be struggling with pride or being selfish. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and have a nice day.